For most Americans, cold snaps and blizzards are a minor inconvenience. But for the most vulnerable in our society, extreme weather can turn lethal. The wickedly cold air and freezing winds that are gripping the Midwest this week may or may not set all-time record lows. Either way, the Arctic conditions, with temperatures falling below -20°F in several major cities, and wind chills considerably lower, have induced a state of emergency. With meteorologists warning that a few minutes outdoors can lead to frostbite, or worse, schools, public agencies and businesses across the region are closed. Officials are urging everyone to stay inside and keep warm. For most Americans, cold snaps and blizzards are a minor inconvenience. Light a fire, crank the heat, binge-watch a TV show, and before long the thaw arrives. Unfortunately, not everyone has this option. The weather is not the only cold thing in cities like Chicago, Minneapolis, Milwaukee and St. Louis. Harsh, bitter poverty has left thousands of people homeless, and many in homes are old, frail and alone. Don't do enough to protect the vulnerable during ordinary times. For them, extreme weather can quickly turn lethal. The deadly combination of extreme weather and dire poverty has already taken a toll on American cities, and not just in famous cases, like Hurricanes Katrina and Maria. In 1995, a short but brutal heat wave killed 739 people in Chicago, with the suffering concentrated in predictable places, poor, segregated and depleted neighborhoods where even everyday conditions are dangerous. What's surprising, though, is that Chicago didn't do more to protect the people who are so clearly exposed to the elements. Instead, it turned its big shoulders in the other direction and left the people who most needed help to fend for themselves. A snow-covered Jeremy Bukta, of Manitowoc, was out cleaning snow his driveway in whiteout conditions January 28, 2019. Photo, Joshua Clark, USA Today Network, Wisconsin. Today, thanks to climate change, city leaders are more attuned to the dangers of extreme weather. Chicago, for instance, has made major improvements in disaster planning for heat waves and cold snaps. It issues serious public health warnings and coordinates messaging with local news media. Its networks of community organizations help with neighborhood interventions, and its emergency workers provide targeted assistance to homeless shelters, single-room occupancy dwellings and public housing projects. These programs reduce the damage, but they're not enough to safeguard everyone from the megastorms and frigid air that's here this week, nor from the more dangerous climate we're about to inherit. What more can be done? The best way to protect people from disasters is to slow global warming and make the climate less dangerous, which is why kicking our addiction to fossil fuels and converting to renewable energy sources is so urgent. Cities, of course, can't do this alone, but they can lead the nation's efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Chicago and New York City have set a goal of cutting emissions 80% by 2050, which is admirable if not sufficient, given that California aims to provide only renewable energy by 2045. Cities also need to adapt to the extremely cold, hot and wet weather that's coming, inevitably, because of all the carbon dioxide already in the atmosphere. Investing in resilient infrastructure, such as better energy grids, green roofs, flood management systems and, crucially, affordable, sustainable housing, is one way to adapt. So, too, is building out social infrastructure, the gathering places that help turn neighborhoods into communities where people know and take care of each other. During disasters, strong local support systems can make the difference between life and death. Surprisingly, one of the best ways that cities can protect vulnerable people is by investing in social infrastructure such as branch libraries, which provide shelter, warmth and security in ordinary times and in lethal weather. Libraries, after all, are among our most accessible shared spaces. They're staffed by professionals who are committed to supporting local communities. They're popular among people of all ages, social classes and groups. In our divided society, libraries are rare places that foster trust, decency and bonding, which is one reason why they've been so essential in the aftermath of recent weather disasters, such as Superstorm Sandy in New York City and Hurricane Harvey in Houston. Yet too many cities neglect them. They often don't have generators for power outages or sufficient staff to deal with crises. In some places, they aren't open often enough to help. It's an irony that, in a warming world, the cold can be so deadly. But the cold most dangerous is the one that comes from within us, not the one that blows in from the Arctic North. Eric Klinenberg is professor of sociology at New York University. His most recent book is Palaces for the People: How Social Infrastructure Can Help Fight Inequality, Polarization, and the Decline of Civic Life. Follow him on Twitter at Eric Klinenberg. Read or share this story. https://www.usa.com/stories/opinion/2019-01/30/polar-vortex-2019-freezing-temperatures-chicago-column/27139060002/